The call came in at 11:47 p.m. A sharp burst of static split the silence of Firehouse before dispatcher's voice cut through. Structure fire. 2347 Maple Ridge Drive. Possible occupants inside. My pulse spiked. That address wasn't just familiar. It was my neighborhood. Riverside Estates. 15 years of my life. I yanked on my gear, muscles moving on pure adrenaline, and vaulted into Engine 4 with the rest of the crew. Sirens wailed as we tore through the darkened streets, lights flashing across the deserted houses. The first sting of smoke hit us blocks before we even reached the gate. My gut clenched when the orange glow bled across the night sky. This wasn't just a fire. This was a monster, and it was already awake. Then, screech. Our 20-ton fire engine jolted to a stop, tires screaming against asphalt. A thick metal chain, padlocked and stretched tight between two steel posts, barred the private road ahead. Behind it sat a white Lexus SUV, parked sideways like some suburban barricade. Son of a... I was already out the door, fury boiling in my chest. I knew this was coming. I'd warned them. Captain Rodriguez's voice barked into the radio, clipped and furious. Dispatch, be advised, access blocked at Maple Ridge Drive. Repeat, road obstructed. The burning home was only 300 yards away. 300 yards, and we might as well have been on the wrong side of the Grand Canyon. My name is Marcus Thompson. I've been a volunteer firefighter for 8 years. Riverside Estates is my home. 200 houses behind gates, rules, and a homeowners association, so controlling it makes North Korea look lenient. But ever since Karen Hartley seized the HOA presidency 6 months ago, life here had turned into a dictatorship with manicured lawns. Karen, the queen of pettiness, the woman who measured grass with a ruler and handed out violation slips like candy on Halloween. She lived just 3 doors down in her colonial fortress, ruling through intimidation and technicalities. The chain barriers had been her crown jewel. She pushed them through under the guise of security and keeping out undesirable traffic. I'd stood in that meeting, uniform shirt still smelling of smoke, begging them to think about emergency access. Karen hadn't just dismissed me. She'd laughed in my face. "Oh, please, Marcus," she'd purred, eyes on her perfect nails. "Emergency services can go through the main entrance. We can't have strangers cutting through our roads." I tried explaining what anyone in this line of work knows. Seconds cost lives. She called me dramatic, fear-mongering, then had me escorted out for disruption. That was 3 months ago. Since then, I'd filed complaints, written letters, even sought legal advice. Karen answered with a campaign of harassment, violation notices for oil stains the size of a dime, fine for trash cans visible for 5 minutes too long. And now, as the fire roared through the night and smoke rolled into the stars, all I could taste was ash and the bitter memory of her smug voice mocking me. Rodriguez appeared with bolt cutters in hand, jaw set. "We're cutting it. Every second counts." He was right. We had no time. But before the steel met the chain, the Lexus door burst open. Out stepped Karen Hartley herself, draped in silk pajamas, face twisted with fury. "What do you think you're doing?" She shrieked, jabbing a manicured finger at the bolt cutters. "That chain is private property. You have no right to touch it." Rodriguez's voice was iron, barely holding back fire. "Ma'am, we got a structure fire. People could be inside. Move." Karen squared her shoulders, standing between us and the gate like some deranged sentry. "I don't care if the Queen of England is on fire," she snapped. "This is a private road. You will not cut that chain. There are procedures." Behind us, more engines screamed onto the scene, radios crackling with desperation. The flames were spreading fast, carried on dry wind. Every instinct in me roared to shove her aside, to tear through the chain and save whoever was trapped inside that burning home. "Karen," I growled, stepping forward, "people are going to die because of your power trip. Move aside now, or you'll be arrested for obstruction." Karen whirled on me, lips curling into a venomous sneer. "Of course you're involved, Marcus. Still sulking about losing your little HOA election? Well, I'm president here. I make the rules. You can go around to the main entrance, just like everyone else." Rodriguez's patience snapped. His voice cut through the smoke and chaos, hard as steel. "Dispatch, be advised. We have an individual actively obstructing fire suppression at 2347 Maple Ridge Drive. Request immediate law enforcement response." For a moment, Karen's massive arrogance held. Then she faltered. Her voice cracked. Did you say 2347? Rodriguez didn't pause. Already moving with the bolt cutters, he barked. "Affirmative. 2347 Maple Ridge Drive. Now step aside." The color drained from Karen's face like a tide rushing out to sea. "My house," she whispered, her voice trembling under the roar of the fire. "That's my house. My daughter Miranda. She's home. Oh, God, she's inside." Her manicured composure shattered. She spun, fumbling desperately in her pajama pocket for keys. Twice they slipped from her shaking hands onto the asphalt. "I'll unlock it. Please, please, you have to save her. She's only 14. The imperious queen of Riverside Estates was gone. In her place, a panicked mother clawed at cold steel, sobbing as she yanked at the chain with useless hands. "Move!" Rodriguez thundered. He shoved past her, snapped the bolt cutter shut, and the chain screamed apart. Engines roared forward to the broken barricade, leaving Karen standing alone in the street, silk pajamas whipping in the smoky wind. What we saw next was every firefighter's nightmare. The second floor of Karen's colonial was already a blazing inferno. Windows belched fire, flames clawing upward into the night sky. The front door hung open, vomiting black smoke in choking waves. A woman in a nightgown stumbled across the lawn. My heart jumped, then sank. Just a neighbor. "The girl's in the back!" she screamed, voice raw. "Second floor, last window on the right. I saw her there, but she's gone." Rodriguez's orders cut through the chaos. We moved, gear on, lines running, the ladder truck setting up. Training took over. I grabbed my air pack, masked up, and followed Mitchell and Davis through the front door. Heat slammed into us like a physical blow. Smoke swallowed everything, turning the world into a suffocating twilight. "Stay low. Stay together," I shouted, dropping to my knees. We crawled forward, hands sweeping walls. Every movement rehearsed 1,000 times, but never less terrifying. Above the roar of the flames, I heard Karen's shrieks from outside, her voice breaking as she begged for someone, anyone, to save her daughter. I forced myself to tune it out. Focus. One room at a time. The first floor was clear. We found the stairs and began to climb, the temperature spiking with each step. The wood groaned under our weight, every second closer to collapse. At the top, the hallway forked. Every door could be salvation or a death trap. "Split up," I ordered, my voice muffled through the mask. Mitchell left Davis with me. We turned right, where the neighbor had pointed. First door, home office, already consumed. Second bathroom, empty. Third door, closed. Heat radiated through it like a furnace. This is it. The handle was locked. No hesitation. I reared back and kicked. The door burst open. Hell on the other side. Flames devoured posters and bookshelves. A canopy bed collapsing on itself. Glowing embers showering the floor. And there, huddled in the far corner, was a small figure. "I've got her!" I shouted, surging forward. Miranda, unconscious but alive. Smoke had claimed her breath, but her chest still rose faintly. She weighed almost nothing in my arms. "Go!" Davis cleared the way, axe in hand, hacking falling beams aside. The ceiling groaned above us, then collapsed, raining fire where Miranda had just lain. The stairs were already sagging, each step threatening to give way. We pushed through, heat licking at our backs, until the front doorway appeared like salvation. And then, flashover. The upstairs hallway behind us detonated into a rolling wave of fire. 30 seconds slower, and we'd all be ash. I burst onto the lawn, clutching Miranda's limp body, and thrust her into the arms of waiting paramedics. Oxygen masks. For lines, a blur of hands fighting for a fragile breath. I ripped off my own mask, dragging in the night air like it was my first taste of life. Around me, my brothers in arms attacked the fire from all sides, water arcing against a beast that refused to die. Karen was on her knees beside the gurney the moment Miranda was placed in it, sobbing her daughter's name over and over, a broken symphony of fear and relief. When Miranda's eyes flickered open and she whispered, "Mom," Karen's composure shattered completely. She clutched her daughter's hand as if it were the only anchor keeping her from floating into the night sky. The fire raged for 4 hours before it could be fully extinguished. By dawn, the Hartley house was a blackened husk, skeletal timbers dripping with water, smoke still curling in lazy, ghostly spirals. Investigators would later confirm the cause, a fault in the attic wiring, smoldering silently for hours before erupting into a firestorm. If the gates hadn't blocked access, we could have contained it to a single room. The 6-minute delay had turned a salvageable blaze into a complete disaster. Karen sat on a neighbor's porch, wrapped in a Red Cross blanket, eyes hollow as she watched the investigators pick through the wreckage. Time had etched lines into her face. She looked 10 years older than she had the night before. When she saw me approaching, there was no sneer, no defiance, just emptiness. "Marcus," she said quietly, "I need to apologize. Not just for tonight, but for everything. You tried to warn me. I let my pride, my obsession with control, nearly kill my daughter." I sank onto the porch beside her, too drained to feel vindicated. "Miranda's going to be fine," I said. "That's all that matters." Karen's eyes returned to the scorched remains of her home. "The chain," she said, voice barely a whisper. "It delayed you by 6 minutes." 6 minutes, the fire chief said, allowed the flames to spread from the attic to the entire second floor. 6 minutes that almost cost me everything. She was silent for a long, shuddering moment. Then she said something I never imagined hearing from Karen Hartley. "I'm resigning as HOA president, effective immediately, and I'll recommend all access restrictions be removed before someone else pays for my arrogance." 2 weeks later, the emergency HOA meeting was packed. Karen stood before the room, smaller somehow, weighed down by everything she had lost. Her resignation letter was brief, no excuses, no finger-pointing. She endorsed the fire department's recommended access plan, and the vote passed unanimously. When the meeting ended, I approached her with a small box. Inside was a 6-inch section of the chain we'd cut that night, still scarred with burn marks from a fire. "For your new house," I said quietly, a reminder that some barriers aren't worth maintaining. Her hands trembled as she took it, tears streaking her face. Outside, fines for visible fire damage totaled $12,000. Insurance refused her claim, citing negligent obstruction of emergency services, leaving her to shoulder a $400,000 mortgage on nothing but ash. The state fire marshal's investigation brought criminal charges for reckless endangerment. The plea bargain handed her 3 years probation and 5,000 hours of community service with the fire department. When the judge read the sentence, Karen's face was a picture of devastation. Pride shattered, control stripped away, and the weight of nearly losing her daughter etched permanently into her expression. Some lessons, I thought, are learned in fire, and some chains are never worth holding on to